Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. Today, I am going to discuss with you about allowances. What is the meaning of these allowances, and what are the different types of allowances which a company or an employer pays to the employees? So, let us first of all understand what is allowance. Now, when I talk about the allowance, allowance is an amount of money which is given or allotted, usually at regular intervals for a specific purpose. So what we must remember out of these two sentences here is, first of all, it is the amount of money and it is paid regularly or at regular intervals for specific purpose. This is the first thing that we must remember. Then the second part of this is, it is a monetary benefit. This allowance, it is a monetary benefit which is offered by the employer to its employees for meeting different kinds of expenditures, and this allowance is always, it is over and above the basic salary. That means any monetary benefit which is offered by the employer to its employees, which is over and above the basic salary, are known as allowances. Fine. Now we have different types of allowances here. The first one here is dearness allowance, then we have market allowance, then we have housing allowance or house rent allowance, which we call as HRA, then we have hardship and danger allowance. So let us understand one by one all these different allowances. Now the first one here is cost of living allowance or dearness allowance. So what this cost of living allowance is? The cost of living allowance, it is the amount of money, which is needed to sustain a certain standard of living by affording basic expenses such as housing, food, taxes and healthcare. So this cost of living allowance or dearness allowance, it talks about the money which is needed to sustain a certain standard of living by affording the basic needs of life like housing, food, taxes and healthcare. Then the cost of living is often used to compare how expensive it is to live in one city versus another. So what we are doing here, we are using this parameter here, that is cost of living index, which we can call it by that name also, cost of living index. This is mostly used to compare how expensive different cities are in our country, because if we are staying in one city in our country, the cost of living is different when compared to the other state. Fine. Then if expenses are higher in a city, we can take the example here, we have Bangalore. For example, salary levels must be higher so that people can afford to live in that city. So here the cost of living in Bangalore is higher when compared to some other cities. So in Bangalore, if the cost of living is higher, and hence the salary level must be higher, right? Now see here, if we talk about the different cities in our country and then look at the cost of living there. Now see here, the first one is cost of living in Ahmedabad. Now see here, the first one if we talk about here is, a single person monthly cost is here in Ahmedabad is 24,708.46 rupees without rent. So we are not going to include this rent in the monthly cost of a person in Ahmedabad. Then the cost of living index, when we talk about the cost of living index in Ahmedabad, is 3.16% lower than in the Bangalore. That means Bangalore is, the cost of living index, if I talk about in Ahmedabad, it is lower than Bangalore by what percent? By 3.16%. Then rent in Ahmedabad, if we talk about the rent, on an average is 21.26% lower than in Bangalore. That means when you talk about the rent in Ahmedabad, it is again lower than the rent in the Bangalore by 21.26%. Now if we talk about the cost of living rank, Ahmedabad ranks at 456th rank out of 479 cities which were selected across the globe. Then Ahmedabad has a cost of living index of 25.02. So this is the cost of living index in Ahmedabad. Now let us talk about the cost of living in Bangalore. Cost of living in Bangalore. Now see here we have 4-person family. If we have in Bangalore, the 4-person family in Bangalore monthly cost is about 90,000 plus, that too without rent. Then a single person monthly cost is there. If we look at Bangalore, a single person cost is about 25,000 plus, that too without rent here. Then cost of living index in Bangalore is 74.16% lower than New York. If we are going to compare the cost of living in Bangalore, it is 74.16% lower than New York. Now you can see here only the cost of living index in New York. It is, we can see it is 74.16% higher than Bangalore. Right. Now rent in the Bangalore is on an average 91.66% lower than in New York. That means New York is very costlier when compared to Bangalore. Here Bangalore is about how much? On an average 91.66% lower than New York. Fine. Then cost of living rank. If we talk about the cost of living rank across the globe, where we had selected how much? 479 cities, Bangalore ranks at 451st in that list. Bangalore has a cost of living index of 25.84. So in Bangalore, if we talk about this cost of living index, it is how much? It is 25.84. Now cost of living in Delhi. Now see here, 4-person family costs 93,000 plus without rent in Delhi. Then we have a single person monthly cost 27,000 rupees, almost that too without rent in Delhi. Then cost of living index in Delhi is 3.12% higher than in Bangalore. That means Delhi is costlier, or the cost of living in Delhi is higher when compared to Bangalore. Then if we see the rent in Delhi is on an average 2.05% lower than in Bangalore. So rent when we compare with Bangalore, it is 2.05% lower than in Bangalore. The cost of living index, if we talk about the Delhi now, out of 479 cities, it ranks at 447th rank. Then Delhi has a cost of living index of 26.64. Fine. Then we have cost of living in Singapore. Let us go to Singapore now. We'll understand about Singapore. Cost of living in Singapore is 236.80% higher than in India. Now see here what type of cost of living is there in Singapore. It is 236% higher than when compared to India. The rent in Singapore is on an average 982.59% higher than in India. No big difference, huge gap there is in this rent. Then we have cost of living in United States. Cost of living in United States is 206% higher than India. Then we have rent in United States is on an average 643% higher than in India. Now cost of living, if you talk about Pakistan. In Pakistan, cost of living is 8.02% lower than in India. Then rent in Pakistan is on an average, it is lower than when compared to India by 18.24%. Then we are going to next one, that is market allowance. Now we'll understand what market allowance means. The first one is employees which are having some distinctive skills, and skills of short supply are demanded by many companies. So as this skill in the market is short as well as some employees are having a distinctive skills. So the demand for such employees would be higher in the market. So companies, in order to attract such employees, what they do, pay competitive salary. So they are going to pay competitive salary by adjusting the compensation package. So they are going to adjust the compensation package to pay competitive salaries for the employees who are having this distinctive skill or the skills of short supply. Then adjustment of compensation package in this regard would be payment of market allowance. So what they are going to do now, they are going to pay market allowances after making adjustment in this compensation package, right? There are like times when a market allowance is needed to respond to legitimate competitive pressures in order to attract or retain key talent in organization. So these market allowances are needed in order to attract or retain the key talent in an organization. All right, the market allowance guidelines set out the basis against which an employee may be remunerated above the level prescribed in the applicable industrial instrument. So here we have these market allowance guidelines which are going to set the basis for remunerating the employees above the prescribed level of salary. Then we have some highest paying tech jobs which are in our country. They are, the first one is here Python developer, then we have cloud architect, then we have data scientists, then we have big data engineer, then we have software engineer and architects, then we have software development managers, and the list goes on. So these are the employees or these are the skills, or these are the designations which attract nowadays employers, and they pay them the market allowances, right? Then we have next one, housing allowances and house rent allowance. So we are going to now understand what this housing allowance or house rent allowance is. Now housing rent allowance HRA is paid by an employer to the employee to meet expenditure actually incurred on payment of rent in respect of residential accommodation occupied by the employee. So here this HRA is paid by the employer to the employee when he is occupying some residential accommodation. So that time employer has to pay this HA or HRA allowance to the employees. Then HRA exception can be claimed only if the employee is residing in the rented house. So here an employee can claim HRA exemption if the employee is residing in the rented house. Fine. Then we have hardship and danger allowances. So we are going to understand now this, what is this hardship and danger allowances. So jobs in some states or some industries and some vocations involve hardships and danger, like working in mines. It is very dangerous to work in mines. Then working in the night time, right, it is also dangerous. Then working in trouble areas, right? So in such cases employer is going to pay these hardship and danger allowances to the employees. Fine. HA, this hardship allowance, it can be 30% or more in areas where it is particularly difficult or unpleasant to live and work. So here 30% can be paid on the basic pay to the employees who are working in some difficult or unpleasant areas. Hence, in such cases, companies have to provide hardship allowances, right? And hence we can say these hardship allowances will keep employees motivated to work in some like hardships and danger like conditions or situations. I hope you have understood this allowance and different types of allowance. Actually, I have taken a very small list of allowance. There are other allowances also. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do like, comment and share my videos, and do not forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.